Good evening. Good evening. All right, I got y'all attention now, huh? We are here tonight to celebrate those among us who have demonstrated outstanding leadership in the progressive community. I'm honored to present an award to someone who has not only been an outstanding leader in the progressive movement, but someone who knows that even in our darkest hours, there's always hope and there's always opportunity for great change if we band together and take action. That person is Jeff Blodgett. Jeff has spent his career working for the progressive movement. After Senator Wellstone's life was cut short, it was Jeff who showed us how to turn tragedy into an opportunity for positive change. Through the creation of Wellstone Action, Jeff harnessed Senator Wellstone's spirit and used his guiding principles to empower other developing progressive leaders nationwide. I am proof of the power of Camp Wellstone. I am proud to say that I'm able to stand before you today as a newly elected state senator because I sat in a Camp Wellstone classroom. During that weekend, I just didn't learn how to be a candidate, I learned how to lead. And I will always strive to be a representative of the people who leads with the steadfast politics of conviction. And because of Jeff, there are thousands more like me across this country. Earlier this year, Jeff stepped aside so that dynamic young leaders within Wellstone Action can take the organization in their own direction. And he stepped into an equally important role as executive director of WIN Minnesota. Where he helped raise and distribute resources to progressive organizations. Jeff Blodgett is a great leader, not only just because he leads others into action, but because he develops others into great leaders. I thank Jeff Blodgett for serving as a beacon of hope in the wake of tragedy, and for empowering me and others to take action, lead with conviction, and stand up for the values that define us as progressive. For his exhaustive work in advancing the progressive movement, I ask everyone to join me in now welcoming Jeff Blodgett as we honor him with this year's Progressive Leadership Award.
Thank you, State Senator Jeff Hayden. Oh man, it warms my heart to know that you're taking your formidable talents over to the State Senate and taking that fight there. So thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Well, I'm going to tell a story, and this is an actual, true win on our issues. It's a good news story. And, because I'm sort of thinking we need a little good news, right? It's tough times today, right? It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, know even if there is a light at the end of the tunnel, right? And so, let me tell you this story. In 2002, when Senator Paul Wellstone was running for re-election to a third term, he was asked a question. You have run in the past on big issues, you've made big promises, and your critics say you can't point to a lot of accomplishments. What do you say to that? And he said back simply, look, sometimes big changes take time, but you got to keep fighting, and that's what I intend to do. A great example of big change taking time is Paul Wellstone's fight to end discrimination against mental illness and addiction by the health insurance industry. In 1992, Paul Wellstone introduced the Mental Health Parity Bill, a proposed law with a simple but profoundly important goal: that mental illness and addiction be treated the same as physical illness by the health insurance and medical industry. Paul saw firsthand that mental illness and addiction, untreated, devastates people, families, and communities. People with mental illness are treated as second-class citizens by insurers. Effective treatments are denied or much more expensive than comparable physical treatments. This was as much of an economic justice question as it was an important health care question. Wellstone first introduced his bill in 1992, but it wasn't until 2008, 16 years later, 6 years after we lost Paul Wellstone, that the Paul Wellstone Mental Health and Addiction Parity Act was passed and signed into law. 2008. It was a huge victory that changes lives of the many, many families who struggle with mental health every day, and to those who will struggle with this in the future. I was lucky to be part of this successful fight, and it taught me three things that I think are instructive today for us. Lesson number one, like Paul Wellstone said, big fights and big change take time and persistence, especially when you're up against powerful, moneyed interests, right, like the insurance industry. So we need to think and plan in terms of years and sometimes even decades. It's a reminder to pace ourselves. It's a reminder that while we must fight hard now in this new normal of a perpetual campaign, we must remember to think ahead, to plan ahead, to keep one eye on the future. Lesson number two. Paul Wellstone started this legislative fight, but it took many others who picked up where he left off to finish this work when he died in 2002. It's a tough reminder that one person, one leader, even at the right time, is not enough, that we need constant waves of new leaders who regularly replenish our ranks. You know, for those of you who like the sport of track and field, I'm looking at you, Melvin Carter, track star and elected official. For those of you who like track and field, think of our work as a relay race. The best leaders, the winning leaders, are ones who develop a strong and diverse and trusted relay team around them. So you may carry the baton for a while, but there are others standing on that line ahead of you, ready to grab the baton and run with it after you. So it's important to ask the question, for the work I do I have a strong relay team? I've been blessed in my life with great relay teams. It's given me the chance to hand off the baton when the time is right and then find another place where I can contribute. Lesson number 3 of the parity fight. The real success of the 2008 mental health parity signing, and also the reason it took so long, was that an advocacy movement of people and families affected by mental illness and addiction had to be built from the bottom up. Once the legislative goal was put out there, Wellstone spent the bulk of his time on this fight helping people to step forward and be their own advocates, rallying and training people to organize and tell their stories, and helping people to build the pressure on their members of Congress, and telling people to not let up, but to keep building, building, building until their pressure overcame the power of the insurance industry. You know, Wellstone was a community organizer who made it into the U.S. Senate. And he used those skills to help the mental health community organize around their self-interest, build permanent organization, and then collective power, which ultimately forced this change to happen. So these three lessons: take the long-term view, develop teams of leaders, and organize for power. They're what Take Action is about. They're also what Wellstone Action is all about as well in our work. And I am so excited to see my relay team over at Wellstone Action take that organization forward while I look for other ways to make contributions. So I want to thank Take Action and everyone here for this award. I'm humbled by it, especially knowing all the amazing recipients over the years. I especially actually also want to thank my beautiful partner Emily for running around the track with me all these years. And so I'm just going to leave you with this. Stand up, keep fighting. Do you hear me? Stand up, keep fighting. Stand up, keep fighting, right? Stand up, ladies and gentlemen, and keep fighting. Thank you.